Right, this is the Real Sports Brothers, episode 15, Inconsistency. Also joining us is a Robinson and Robinson special. Amani, how you doing this evening?
Good. I'm doing good.
All right. Tonight we're going to be looking at a couple inconsistent things going around the different leagues. For the NFL, the Chiefs, our local team, are being inconsistent and looks like we are going to be out of the playoffs so far this year with a very small chance. What do we have, a 15% chance still?
Yeah,
13%, something crazy? There is a very small chance that they still can make it, but it's not looking good. And I personally rather them not. But also Phillip Rivers. The Colts have been inconsistent, and then Daniel Jones got hurt. So they're trying to hold on to what the best year they can have so far. They went out and get Phillip Rivers. Um, Lamar Jackson, him being inconsistent, as well as Josh Allen's play for both of those teams. LeBron James has been inconsistent. 2 games ago, he dropped 9 points, even though he did have the game winning assist, and you play to win the game, so that matters. But then he had a bounce back. So, how will he look so far? He's been this year. And then we'll end it with a little Notre Dame situation and some college football. So, Monty, starting off, like I said, let's just go ahead and say the Chiefs are gone this year. The playoffs are out of it. It is what it is. Give me just like two or three major things that you think could go far next year as far as changing to get us right back in as far as that Super Bowl hunt.
I think the biggest thing in my eyes just watching games is getting the run game started. Since early in the year, watching Notre Dame, like we're going to bring up later, I'm hoping we can get Jeremiah Love to add to the backfield. I think his skill set in the receiving game and just being an explosive player will provide what this offense needs to get back on its feet. As we could know from watching the games, the passing game just isn't the same. Patrick's sitting back in there in the pocket, and it shows clips that no one's open. Everybody's just getting stuck on in coverage, and that's because teams know we have to pass. Our running game is just Kareem Hunt getting 4 yards or Patrick Mahomes tired of sitting back there and he scrambles. He's been our most dangerous option in the running game. So I believe fixing the running game will open up the pass. We need a big outside corner. I don't think as good as McDuffie is, I don't think he's an outside corner. I think he provides the best coverage in the nickel. I think we need a corner. Either need to develop someone that we got now, or we need a bigger corner because he can't. He's not keeping up with these bigger physical receivers. And other than that, just moving on from Travis Kelsey, we need someone who's younger, a little bit more reliable as Travis Kelsey's been these past few years. This year, he's just, as much as his stats don't say it, if you watch the game, he's just not a reliable target. So we need to either work in Rice or Worthy, or next year having either Gray or Wiley take over that role that Travis Kelsey played the past few years of just being that consistent option. I think those are our biggest needs going into next season.
All right. I agree with most of those sentiments. The running game, I agree. Number one, um, and it's baffled me that Andy did this for about the last 3 years. He knows at the best when his offense is running, he's most comfortable because he's never really going to want to pass the ball a lot. So he feels like he can compensate. Plus, it's a West Coast offense. That's what running backs do. They're also leak outs, but and eventually over the years the transition once running backs were able to do more routes and there's a handful in the league if you're not counting third down backs who are actually starter level who can run a lot of those 3-4 routes out of the backfield over the middle that open things up, but the bottom line is we've missed that versatility in the back. um Pacheco, that's not really his game. He doesn't have awful hands, but he's just a flare out guy. He doesn't bring a lot after that. He's just a whole lot of arms and legs. And Hunt, just it is what it is. His just body just is not. It's just he just wears out quickly. But he's got good vision. He's got his whole game has good intent. It just doesn't have a big battery behind it. And then eventually the rookie just got phased out. They knew that anytime he's in, A, he can't pass block, and B, he can't run between the tackles with any effectiveness. So it was obvious that they were going to be passing. Um, and it's just what is what it is. I agree. I do see at times why we could use a big physical receiver, depending on who it is and depending on his mindset, of course. For this offense, it would help open some things up a little bit more. I would hope also with, letting Travis Kelsey go ahead and go on his way. But I do also agree with you in the sense of a running back would help that immediately more,
Mhm.
because although they cannot consistently beat me in coverage all the time, so to speak, I trust Andy's scheme a little more. That and then around the league is being handcuffed with this shell zone anyway. So yes, we do have in Thornton and Worthy guys who can stretch the field. Worthy struggles a little more unless he's in the slot position because he can get pushed to the boundary. And Thornton, I think, is just underplayed so far this year from what he showed. And then after that, for me, I think definitely a defensive end. Dana has good intent. A minute who just didn't truly get back what he did before he tore his ACL in the playoffs or late in 2 years ago.
Mhm.
He's just not the same player. And the rookie did look good. Norman Lott did look good before he hurt himself. I think that definitely set back this pass rush. I think if we look back over that, I think the numbers did show it. Chris Jones must have watched the last 3 episodes because last 2 weeks he has been playing. And Carl Loftus is a try hard guy. A lot of people don't remember Tom Bahali, but I'm telling you, it's just a not darker version. I mean, the dude is just he's got a lot of hustle. He doesn't have awful physicality, but he's just a poor man's Aiden Hutchinson.
Mhm.
Um, and then definitely, like you said, the secondary. I think around the league, it's been proven. Even the best safety, it's going to take him 2 years. The average safety, it takes 3 to 4, just to be that second field general. Behind the middle linebacker, he's helping keep that secondary straight. So I think
Mhm.
I agree with you. A corner is what I would take. Um, as far as when we're talking about that 1, 2, 3, everything else is just shaking dice you know, so that's what I think definitely should go on next year, and hopefully Pat gets a. Our line wasn't awful this year. Obviously,
No.
we can yell and scream about Juwan Taylor. He is what he is. You don't have Trey Smith and Creed getting Pro Bowls and saying, "Oh, they're not that good." They are that good. It just
Yeah.
so happens that there are different versatilities in offensive lines, and we are not a run blocking, pushing type of line. We are more a finesse line. It wouldn't hurt us to. I don't know why I don't want to tear his name up, but we drafted him as left tackle when we moved to left guard. I don't know why he can't, be a more physical that we can run behind that left side or something, or maybe a better back would open these things up. But the
Mhm.
bottom line is, I think those key positions and tossing maybe a linebacker, unless I covered the three, yeah, running back, defensive end, yeah, I got my three. So yeah, I think those can get us right back in the playoffs. So we were kind of in agreement. Um, I'll go quickly first to the Phillip Rivers deal.
Mhm.
Actually, they're making it sound like he's playing this weekend.
Yeah.
So this is, I am very, very interested. I mean, this game is going to get a lot of views because I mean, we've got to see, is this old man really 4 years not off the couch, because he has been coaching. He seems like the kind of coach who's getting out there showing him what he's still got, but he definitely was looking puffy in the face, as they noted, and did not say his weight. He was never a mobile quarter running back, so he does have a point in that. But at the same time, you know, if and they do have weapons, so that's the difficult part. Here's the thing: if he somehow is able to look like Joe Flacco, what was that, 2 years ago, 2 or 3
Yeah.
years ago,
Hmm.
man, he could shake up the world because I mean, seriously, they don't have a bad offensive line. They've got a top level running back with a real quarterback. We both agree they've got weapons.
Yeah.
So, and the defense is scrappy. I don't think the defense. I don't know what the numbers say, but you know they're bend but don't break. And
Hmm.
at times, if you're a suspect offense, they can get after you because they're fast. What's your take on what you think Phillips Rivers can do? Can he really hold on to that like he did 4 years ago, getting in the playoffs and then it's one and out? Or if he has a full grasp on it, do you really think they can be Cinderella?
I don't. 4 years is a long time to be out of the game. Yes, he's been coaching and he's got to keep up with all those kids that he's got, but 4 years is a long time out of the game, and he's hopping in one of the most important parts of their season with a rough stretch of games coming in. It's not like they're coming in playing the Raiders or Titans. They've got the Seahawks, Texans, 49ers left. So if they're doing what they're training to do and they're going to play him for the remainder of the season, it's really going to be up to that first game to see if he can do it. Because, like you said, he's got all the weapons that you would want to be put in a situation. You got a top level running back, got a good wide receiver out there in Pittman, and you got a deep threat now with Pierce. And if that arm's still active, he's got weapons to get it to. He's got a running game, so it's not just all on him. The defense is good. I think Buckner's been out for
Yeah, Buckner's been
he,
out.
but they still got another guy out there. I can't remember his name, but the defense is good. And one thing I wanted to pose a question to you about: how do you feel about Cam Newton said it felt like a slap in the face when Phillip Rivers?
I saw that too. I was very disappointed in Cam because he's forgetting there's one trump card that anybody needs, that if you respect football and as a dude who's played football his whole life, you tell me as any coach and anybody with good sense, Cam, he knows the offense like he knows his kids. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally, he runs their offense at his school,
Yep.
and it's the same dude. What are you talking about? And the running back and Pittman were there, so there's
Mm-hmm.
familiarity. Stop,
Yeah,
stop.
and I believe I saw things. Riley Leonard, the quarterback there now. I think Phillip Rivers is kind of like his role model. I think they've already had conversations back and forth.
Yeah, and
So
you know, and we can't really get into Riley Leonard because like I said, I watched the Notre Dame last year. He seems like a try hard guy. I respect him, but it's Riley Leonard. I mean, he wasn't gonna, because in the end, a low level rookie, like you said, and you noted with the schedule, they knew, man, if it's not somebody competent, and James Johnson, I guess, is retired because remember everybody used to keep running him out there. It is
uh-huh.
what it is. But go ahead and finish off your Philip Rivers deal, or if that was it.
Yeah, that was really it. He's got the weapons and everything like that. If he's still got it in the tank, then they might be able to do the one and done thing in the playoffs. But this is a tough stretch coming up ahead for him. We'll see if he can take some hits because I people are going to come after him.
Okay, let's get out here. We're not afraid of hot takes, but we don't want to be insane. But it hit me when we thought about this. They got the Seahawks. They have the Niners. The Jags at least have legitimate defense, and the Texans are just SOBs.
Mm-hmm.
If Because we don't care if he beats up on Lawrence because he's trash. Uh, Purdy, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But the defense is what we're talking about. It's not head
Mm-hmm.
to head with the quarterback. There, if he does this stretch, would you be? Would Is it crazy that that's a good enough stretch to win the Super Bowl? The Seahawks and Niners and Texans,
I
because the Seahawks have offense and defense. The
Mhm.
Niners, depending on if their receivers are healthy, do have also offense and defense, and that's about it. I don't trust the Texans.
I Once again, it's kind of the thing is if his body can hold up, because this is one of those kind of band aid moves, and if
So
he
that's what
comes
I'm saying. 4 weeks
if
happened. His body holds up.
if his body holds up,
That means that's only maybe 3 games.
yeah, I mean,
Still too much of a stretch.
it it's a stretch, but it's a with what you're saying. If they come out of this and the team doesn't miss a beat, say
Yeah, 4-0.
he goes 4-0, and he looks like a comparable quarterback. He looks like Joe Flacco when he stepped in there. Then I don't see how they can't.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. You heard it here first, folks. We give them, I'm going to say, if they end up, for only speaking fantasy way, if they end up 4-0, I give them a 42% chance of winning the whole thing. Monty, what's your percent?
Um, after watching the football I've seen, are we talking about winning or making the Super
4
Bowl?
and 0. 4 and 0, winning, going to the winning. You got to say
Winning.
winning.
If they go 4-0 during these games and he doesn't take any major hits, he's completely healthy. I'll give him. I'll give him a 48. I'll give him closer to 50.
All right. Now, so now we're going to jump down to and I'm gonna try to not be too wordy. I'm explaining this way that this is not about hating. This is what we know about how this man has played, how this man has looked, and what is going on. Now, Josh Allen, they're struggling as a whole. That's not. That's just. I understand it, but they're still winning. But it's about longevity and them being a playoff team. Their weapons, as far as the receiver, are just it's really bad spot. Keon
Mhm.
Coleman's on his way to me, possibly out of the league, because I don't know how as a second round pick, and they just gave you the number one job, even though we knew, well, he runs a 4.6. He's not explosive. He's basically a poor man's Vincent Jackson, and now it shows that he has zero discipline. So
Mhm.
there's that, and now he's getting healthy scratches. Khalil Shakur is pretty much only a slot, and everybody else is just a light.
Mhm.
So I mean, the Bill and they've never had great defense, so they're in a spot. The respectable thing is with the running game and Josh Allen being Superman, the tight ends are very nice that they do good to scheming them up. Ty Johnson being versatile as well. They don't aside from he has a different running style, but he does not run between the tackles because he's been in the league quite a while. So, but he does his best as a receiving type of threat. They can do just enough. I don't want to talk about Super Bowl, but that's I at least can explain why they're struggling. But Josh Allen. If I was him, I would demand a top 10 receiver again
Mhm.
because they will not win a Super Bowl unless they can figure out how to commit to the offense and bring in just a couple legitimate receivers because having none is just a problem. Um,
Yeah.
and with Lamar, um, trying to be as quick as I can with him, I do think it's not about a diminishing. It's not about him not being able to play. It's not about him getting necessarily worse. It's about the fact that Michael Vick said it himself when he talked to this man. I learned until I got with the Eagles, I didn't realize I wasn't playing the quarterback at the highest position with my skill set because just like what Steve Young showed, if you break out with intent when the play needs it, it's always a good thing. And since you're essentially a lot of times the fastest guy on the field, it would have only helped you to nurse these skills, but you didn't. So now consequently I don't want to hear about the receivers because it's essentially the same core for the last 3 years, minus one or two dudes, but not the key players. Zay Flowers, the tight ends, the running game, except for the main Henry is the only main, but Justice was is still there as his breather. So this is essentially the same team with just a few changes, and he is throwing for career low in yards and career low in rushing. If the man has a knee injury, which he's not on the injury report, and all that good stuff, if his hamstrings are acting up, if he's got any sort of real injury, once again, I am not condemning that. Football's a tough sport. He's not a big guy, blah, blah, blah. But I think this is something to look at because let's say I'll give you a devil's advocate. They bring him in top level receivers because he says, hey, my body can't handle anymore. I've got to be he can't do it. And you don't learn that over the summer. So I think he's a damned if he does player, especially the way the league is, the way they play defense right now, which is giving everybody this season's looked almost like XFL or whatever UFL football at times with these awful quarterback plays because they're playing the shell and bracket defenses that a lot of guys don't have sometimes the tools you need to beat it. But anyway, he just hasn't developed that skill set as a quarterback. And so for those reasons, because now he doesn't feel like running because A, it hurts too much, or whatever, he doesn't want to get hurt. I think he is he is on his way down. We have seen the best of Lamar. I'm not saying he's done. I'm not saying he's out of the league in 3 years, but the MVP Lamar, it's a wrap.
Yeah. So with me starting on the Josh Allen thing, I think it's strictly just a weapons thing for him. We talked about how good the run game is, and how there's a lack of receiving options out there. They did bring back Gabe Davis, trying to work him back in the offense. They signed him to the practice squad, I believe, last week or the week before. So just
And he
working.
played. He played last week.
He played last week.
Yes, he played last week.
Yeah, so just getting him back, I'm sure a face that Josh Allen's comfortable with. They've been in the playoffs together. They play all the big games together. So just getting him back in tune, I'm sure that'll help Josh Allen. And James Cook has been a really good option for them in the run game. And as you spoke on the tight ends, when they scheme them open, the tight ends, both of them are very solid players. So I think it's just kind of just a little bit of a downturn for Josh Allen, strictly the weapons. I don't think he's doing anything to hurt himself. He's not looking like rookie year or early Josh Allen or anything like that. I strictly just think it's because of the weapons. And Lamar Jackson, I think I might agree with your take that the MVP Lamar Jackson might be gone. I think the injuries are legitimate. He hasn't practiced. I think it was on a he hasn't had a Wednesday practice since like early November. He's been sitting out every Wednesday or every Thursday or something like that since early November. I think that's them knowing the injuries that he has. He might not be on the injury report. It might not be anything major, but he may just be dinged up, and that's why we don't see him running around as much. Like you said, the receivers are the same. They have been, and you would think maybe that would transition into someone breaking out or something where he could find an option more reliably. But I think it's what you said
I think
that
Zay is legit. He's not a number one because any given Sunday he's placed in the corner who's big enough to be physical and can run with him. But Zay is cool.
Zay is a good player, but I just with Derrick Henry in the running game, um, teams are going to know you got to stop Derrick Henry,
Yeah.
and Lamar hasn't looked the same when he's scrambling. I think he's got his longest rush of the season is like 19 yards or something like that, and that's that's uncharacteristic of Lamar. We're used to seeing him make people look silly and take off for 50 yards. So with that part of his game, hopefully that's not gone. Hopefully that's just because he's a little dinged up this year. Um, but like you said, with the defenses playing that shell and bracket defense, he's going to have to learn to find these windows to throw the ball into. And they just re-signed Mark Andrews, so Mark Andrews, he's a veteran out there. He's been up and down this season, but he's going to be one of your top. So I think what you said, the MVP Lamar, I think that's a thing of the past, but I don't think he's going to go I don't think it's going to get much worse. I think next year, once he gets his injuries managed, he'll be able to add that scrambling back into their game. Derrick Henry's going to be another year older. We're not going to know what that's going to look like for him if he even continues playing after next year. He's still he's still at the top of his game. I don't think he's fallen too much, but that's a lot of wear and tear that he has on his body. So we'll see if he wants to go through another season of that. And like you said, they have Hill and they have Keaton Mitchell, who is a little explosive back there. I don't know. I don't think he's a number one running back or anything like that, but he's someone that they can mix in and do some things with. So I think what you said, the MVP Lamar is a thing in the past, but I think he'll always be a top 10 quarterback.
Gotcha. All right. On to the association. Just the other night, the Lakers in that the what do they call that tournament? The
The,
mid season tournament.
yeah.
Yeah,
I,
they played San Antonio, and to me, as expected, the type of teams that's going to give the Lakers problems are young, athletic teams. And because of how they've drafted, the Spurs happen to be a very deep team. So although they don't have a lot of experience, besides guys like Fox and old man Harrison Barnes, who's Kelly Olynyk still running around. The bottom line is they got it. They got nice young guys who seem to want to play team basketball. I'm holding a sneeze, and I just think that it made sense they were going to get got because to me Luca is not a defender and Austin Reeves and LeBron for the most part are not they're average to below average defenders depending on what's in front of them. And although LeBron can lock in at moments, he can't consistently stay with these young guys. Neither should he be expected to. So although he had a very legitimate stat line, and wasn't necessarily. I mean, if you have to look at it, you lost by under 15 points. Austin Reeves ended up with 15 points, which is basically 15 points light if you just had to look at numbers. Rui was down, DeAndre was down, but to me, you got 26 from Marcus Smart. And if I tell you from what you know about Marcus Smart that he had 26 points and went 8 of 14 from three, I don't expect that. So I don't care about those because you got something that you weren't expecting out of Marcus Smart. So that really didn't scare me. But the main point with LeBron, it looks like I was over my skis in the group chat. I thought I was worried that LeBron might be through. No, he's just now officially on a good team. Thank God he's a third wheel because if you have to depend on him, it's appearing now. Yeah, you were going to be bad because
yeah.
he just his motor only runs so much now. And remember, people got to be fair. Um, if this actually is funny, but and this isn't a knock on anybody, but this LeBron could actually ball out in the 90s because it's a slower pace. Everybody had more sets. You know what I'm saying? This spread out stuff, it is cut, move with the good teams, and everybody stand 3 point line. So when you're swinging and you're over it, you're coming up into the key to help on the defense because your guy's on the far wing, and that ball rotates to him, and you're 41 years old and you got to close out on a dude who, remember, he can shoot it.
Yeah.
Because anytime they're out there, it doesn't matter whether you're a center more than not. It's a guy who can shoot it. It's just levels of how well.
Yeah.
And he pumps. You at least have to respect it. He's going by you every time. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's very hard to play disciplined defense at that age because you just don't have your suddenness anymore. So technically, to me, 19, 15, and 8, three turnovers, three blocks. You can get over plus minus if you want to, but look how much they lost by. So that part is skewed.
Yeah.
Um, I was wrong. LeBron's going to be fine this year. The Lakers will be fine this year. They do need some. They need better play from Jackson Hayes. He's been here now long enough that if they still don't trust him, but to run out there 12 minutes and be just very what's the animated in his play without really being good, that's a problem because Aiton just in and out. He's just I'm not. I don't feel bad for him because it's hard to get touches other than lobs with what Luca and Austin do. So he doesn't really get to operate a lot. So it'd be nice if they could figure out how to get all four of those guys more touches. Not all four, but Aiton at least more touches, even if it's got to come from LeBron and Reeves, because I think that's the only thing that's going to keep him motivated to really play defense. But that ended
Yeah.
up a Lakers take. It was supposed to be about LeBron's inconsistency. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I was a little afraid when he first came in. We had a 10-point game, that 8-point game where he did give off the game-winning assist. Like you said, defense is going to be tough. You're having to get in and out of the stands up with these guys who weren't even born when you were in the league yet. When you just started out in the league, that's always going to be tough. And the shot really wasn't falling. He shot around 30% in
Four
those games.
16.
So I was a little worried, and then he came back versus the 76ers and had that 29-point game, and the shot was falling. Shot 70% from the field,
Huge
60% from
fourth quarter.
yeah. So that kind of showed me that it's gonna be one of those things where he can, when he needs to, he can kind of turn it on and he can coast when he has to, because he's not gonna be go 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 every minute he's in. That's just, you can't ask that of him. But if you do need something out of him, he might be able to give you a few quick minutes of what we're used to seeing out of him. And like you said, versus San Antonio, the shot was still falling from the field. He at least shot 50%, but 0 for 3 from three. LeBron's never been a lights out shooter. He has improved over the years, but 15 rebounds is, I mean, he's still out there. He's out there hustling. Rebounds are, you got to get them.
The
The
next
league,
closest was 8. Austin and DeAndre Hayton had 8. So he's doing something.
yeah, the league's not getting any smaller. So he's still got to go out there and he's got to jump for those rebounds. He's not a small guy,
Yeah.
but 40 years old, for crying out loud. You're gonna have. They're not all gonna fall in your hands, and it
Yeah.
certainly of them. So he's still doing something out there. So I was glad to see that.
Gotcha. I'll toss to you real quick. I didn't have much on that Notre Dame as much as you had kind of heard other things going on. Um, just quick, giving everybody what should have heard by now. Of course, the rule going into 2026 for Notre Dame, and in essence, kind of a little bit of the fallout that we're hearing is coming from them having that clause that's kicking in. Also,
Mhm.
you had an interesting take. You just finished your last college football season at William Jules. We see you sporting.
Mhm.
The thoughts if you were a player on that team, them giving up on your senior year, going to a legitimate bowl. It's not the greatest, but it was going to be a legitimate bowl.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on what's going on with what Notre Dame?
So I'll start with the contract they signed. They essentially are guaranteed a playoff spot if they're ranked in the top 12 next year. And that also, because I know there was some talk about it. I haven't heard many mutters of it, but if the playoff was expanded to 14 teams, then they would be a lock if they finished in the top 13 instead of top 12. So it kind of helps them out even more. Um, I just think I, it's I just think it's crazy, especially with their um their schedule that they have going into next season. They have 3 away games, the hardest one being at Syracuse. So it looks like they got an easy lock going into being locked in the top 12 for next year. So they basically just walked into a playoff spot. And but we are getting some pushback. At least the murmurs around college football is that athletic directors around the league are threatening to freeze Notre Dame out of their future schedules as a result of this contract, meaning that they won't want to play in the future if this is still a part of their contract. So I think it'll be very interesting about how this all goes down. As we know, Notre Dame is an independent. They're not going to join any conference, so they're never going to get in as a conference winner. And as we see, Notre Dame, they're not on the SEC level of teams. So,
If
and their
you had
schedule,
to, sorry to cut you. If you had to, we had thrown out scenarios. Where would you think? And I agree. We're not. They never would. They got make too much money. They're historic. Blah blah blah. Where do you think their style of football fits out of the four really major conferences?
I actually had a talk with one of my buddies today about this because I know we talked about the Big Ten, and we brought up the ACC
They could be
because
dominant in the ACC.
yeah, they'd be one of the top teams in the ACC. Um, I think I think ACC plays more alongside them. Looking at the Big Ten,
Physical.
I think the Big Ten might be just a step above them. I think those top few teams, including teams like Nebraska, I think Nebraska would give them trouble. So I think the ACC would be more their speed.
Gotcha. All right. And did you touch on them giving up that bowl game and what that would mean to a senior?
I'd not. So I think as a senior, if you're if you're someone that is say this is you're not going in the NFL. This is your senior year. You've already established you wouldn't be getting any tryouts or anything like that. There's no chance of you making it to the next level. I think it would be a pretty tough pill to swallow because this isn't something that like the head coach or anything just comes up and talks to the team about. This is like a team decision. It goes through all levels. You're having multiple meetings about it. So I think I would have to know like what am I gaining out of this? Because this is essentially my last chance to play football.
And like
Um,
you pointed out, the NFL dudes might not play.
yeah, this might be those guys' last time playing football. So what am I gonna lose not playing this game? What am I gonna gain for not playing this game? Um, I just in the situation that they're in, I don't understand it. I don't understand why you wouldn't play in this bowl game. You already see that if you get ranked in the top 12 next year, you're gonna have the playoff game next year. There's no rule they're gonna make up for if you're an independent team and you win over 80 games, you're automatically in the playoffs. That's never gonna be a thing. So I just don't know what rule or what they're fighting for. They felt like they got snubbed to not be in the playoffs. I get that, but for the seniors that are out there, that's that was their last game playing football and their last chance to play football. You just took it away from them because your butt hurt that you got snubbed. So I personally wouldn't be very happy about it. Um, but yeah, I don't understand why they did it, and if I were in their shoes, I wouldn't be happy.
Gotcha. All right. So we're moving into the playoffs, which start next weekend, I believe. So just quick, if you can break down any of the matchups, you can. But I just wanted to get our picks on record. So I will start with. We'll alternate. I'll give the game, and I'll give the team. Then the next one, you'll give the who you pick, and blah blah blah. So
Mm,
the first one, James Madison, Oregon. For me, it's not really a good, a tough decision. I'm going with Oregon.
yeah, same here. Repping William Jewell. I'm gonna go with the former alumni himself, Dan Lanning, and the Oregon Ducks there.
All right. Alabama and Oklahoma. I think this is going to be a tough one. I think it's an interesting matchup, but once again, I'm going to go with Alabama, which for the 1 point upset over the eight, number nine Alabama over the eighth Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you right there. I'm going Alabama. They played once earlier this season. Oklahoma ended up winning that game, but they won that strictly off turnovers and a late game field goal. Alabama ran away with that game. So yeah, I'm gonna go Alabama there.
Okay, Tulane, Ole Miss. I think not just that Ole Miss is rated hard. I think Ole Miss, if you're a player on that team, and once again, as a football player, you can speak to this. Your coach ran out on you, and he's a snaky type of dude, and everybody's like, "Hey, ooh, that worked out." A snaky type of dude. You cut the head off the snake.
Mhm.
I feel like they're gonna have something to prove. I think Tulane's gonna catch a butt whooping.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. I think Ole Miss, they've got something to play for. Anytime as a player, I've been a part of a few coaching changes, and if that coach leaves on terms that aren't good, you're fired up as a team. You're ready to prove them wrong and kind of show them what they're missing. So I think Ole Miss will put on one of the best shows we've seen them.
All right. And who do you say Miami A&M?
Um, I believe I believe in Miami. I think A&M is a really good team. Um, I just believe Miami. Ruben Bain is a special player on defense, and I think I think Miami will win that one.
All right. Well, I do not agree with you. I think A&M got embarrassed down the stretch. I think they're going to be taking it personally. And since you're throwing out names, I think Cassius Howell's got something to prove there. He had 11 and a half sacks, which I just found out just now. But I think I have watched them twice this year. I do think they have a very exciting defense. I do think they fly around. I do think that they are going to get that win. So we finally shook things up and had a difference. So you
Mhm.
go Miami, I'm going AM. As we speak right now, Tampa is as they should, leading Atlanta 7-0. Atlanta has the ball. But before we head out, great show. Appreciate you stepping in. You got anything this week?
I did not. Finals week this week, so just working on wrapping up classes and assignments and stuff like that, and then I'll be done for the semester.
All right. I will just be working for the man. So that's all I got going on.
Mhm.
So I appreciate it. I will hit the guys up in the group chat and find out what we will be attacking next week. Of course, we still at some point will say what we thought of the Chiefs game, but that is what it is. We'll probably have some more NBA coverage. They should. I think that championship thing will be up, so we'll have a champion of that and maybe some other things going on. So appreciate it. This has been the R.S.B, aka Robinson and Robinson, episode 15. Holla.